Hello, welcome again. It's 3 a.m. and I'm recording a lecture for you guys. So today we'll be talking about the gross anatomy of nervous system. More specifically, we'll talk about the gross anatomy of central nervous system. So what is gross anatomy? Gross anatomy are those structures that you can appreciate with your naked eyes. So if we talk about central nervous system, as we know that central nervous system is made up of brain and your spinal cord. So if we talk about brain has got in itself some subdivisions. For example, your brainstem and your cerebellum. So now let's look at the brain from lateral side. Now this is the anterior side of your brain, posterior side of your brain, and dorsal ventral. Now this is the brainstem leading into spinal cord, towards spinal cord. Now you can appreciate one thing, that now your brainstem is at right angle with your brain. So what is actually ventral here is going to be dorsal in brain. So what is the dorsal here is going to be ventral here. So that's why your dorsal side of your brain is towards your crown of your head, and the ventral side of your brain is toward the base of your skull. So now let's look at the brain from lateral side. Let's talk about some important landmarks. Now let's look at here. For example, let's look at here. Let me pick up a pen. So this is actually your lateral fissure. This, what you can see here, is your lateral fissure. Now your lateral fissure is actually separating your frontal lobe from your temporal lobe. This is a lateral fissure. Lateral fissure is separating the frontal lobe from your temporal lobe. Now there is another important landmark. If you see it, it is your actually central sulcus. This is your central sulcus. This is actually your central sulcus. And now anterior to the central sulcus, or in front of this central sulcus, is precentral gyrus, and behind this central sulcus is postcentral gyrus. Now these both gyri are very important. These are very important if we talk about our primary motor system, or if we talk about our sensory motor system. These gyri are very important. For example, if we talk about neurons, those neurons that are responsible for our movements are located in a precentral gyrus, and those neurons that are responsible for mapping our body on our brain. For example, if a mosquito bites us, we know that where did it bite. So those neurons are located in a postcentral gyrus. This is the precentral gyrus, this is the postcentral gyrus. So right, let's move on. Now let's talk about some more important landmarks. So if you look at the brain from lateral side, we can clearly see that our brain is thrown into a lot of folds, a lot of bumps. We call these bumps as gyri. For example, these bumps are your actually gyri. We call them gyri. And folds between them. For example, these spaces between them, we call them sulci or sulci. Right? These are actually sulci. These are your bumps or gyri. Now, why these are present here? Your brain is actually too big to fit in your head. So that's why brain is folded in gyri to accommodate this space. Now let's see what can we see from here. We can see our actually lateral fissure, and this is actually our central sulci. This is the precentral gyrus, this is the postcentral gyrus, and we can see another landmark here called as a preoccipital notch. This preoccipital notch is a border between your temporal lobe and your occipital lobe. Now there is no clear demarcation between this parietal lobe and occipital lobe in lateral aspect. When we'll see brain from middle side or middle aspect, we'll clearly see demarcation, and we'll look at here. And this is actually our lateral surface of our brain. So that's it for today. Thank you very much.